So cutting straight to the point here guys, Team CS is the best method to develop yourself as an individual player and also a team player. If you don't believe me or disagree with what I'm saying here, that is completely fine, but at least hear me out on this. So I'm sure all of you know the feeling of what it's like to either solo queue or maybe duo and trio stack on Faceit. You immediately feel it's a little bit harder for you to make plays or have specific rounds planned out due to that X factor of the randoms you have in your team. Yes, I do understand you can communicate to them in game with what you want to be doing and tell them exactly how you want to be playing out the round. However, sometimes calls can get interpreted in different ways. If you're a pure solo queue Faceit player that doesn't play off Team CS at all, you'll progress much slower in terms of things like game sense, map awareness, and even playing off of your teammates. I'm not saying that you won't develop, but it is just a lot harder for you to do so at a much slower rate. Having the same teammates around you every single game will help you notice things that you can improve on, but also what each of your strengths are at the same time. When you play with these same 4 people each game, they will notice patterns in the way that you play, and in terms of all 5 of you will help give each other their own personal knowledge and experience to become greater individual players. The main skills you'll learn in game will be like learning to play off and also around your teammates at a higher level, understanding where you should be positioned or where you should be holding for a push depending what everyone else on your team are doing, and even things like trading, spacing, and playing your numbers that you have for the best advantage possible. I can even run off a list of things outside of the game that players gain from playing Team CS that you won't find within solo queue. Things like an improvement in motivation, making you want to strive to be the best you can be just to do everyone else on your team proud. Or even things like that will improve your skill in resolving issues of talking things out and having discussions that will improve that skill into the future as well. And also, most importantly, at the end of the day, playing within a team is much more fun and enjoyable than it is playing solo queue. If you aren't having fun while trying to become the best you can be, then you won't be able to force yourself into keep doing it for a long period of time. So the next question you may be asking me now is, yeah, this is all good, but also what you can gain from Team CS, but how can I actually join a team myself? Well, there are many different ways that you can go about joining teams in CS, and I would personally say that if this is your first time joining a team, I suggest you just do it with friends. These are players that you should enjoy playing the game with, but are also good mates outside of the game at the same time. Because if you're at the start of Team CS and just learning how to play it together, it is very important you're with other people you really enjoy to play the game with in this process. However, if you've been in teams before and you sort of believe to yourself that you have a good understanding of Team CS to a decent level, I guess at least, then I suggest you look for one that is relative to your skill level, but also at the same time has the same goals as you looking to achieve, but either that being maybe cash cups, ESEA leagues, or even just simply ranking up and Faceit. To find teams, there are many different ways through things like Twitter, Reddit, and even Discord servers like CSTF for example. Knowing people and networking is incredibly important when it comes to finding teams, because even if you don't stick around with the same 4 players you've played with previously and leave that team, you can still have contact with them in the future, and you never know, you may find another team off of one of those players. If you don't want to use services like these, you can even prove yourself on Faceit or ESEA if you get into a pro circuit league for your region, or even FPLC or something like that. This can get you noticed and even scouted by some teams. Now, it's all great that if you do join a team to develop as a player, however, you still need to have the right mentality for it. There will be many ups and downs within Team CS, and it's important that you embrace the losses as much as the wins. Developing as a player means accepting and taking responsibility for what you've done wrong, while on top of that, also understanding the best solutions to resolve the issues within your team and also your individual playstyle. Being in a team, it will allow for each of you to bounce off one another very easily with ideas of what you should be doing and what should be happening, and also keeping a positive environment and motivate one another to the best that you can. Now that you're in a team, I suggest you do things like scrims, officials, and even Faceit fire stacks if you really want to be a little bit more casual. At the end of the day guys, you still need to have fun while developing as a player, and if you've never experienced the environment of Team CS, I strongly recommend you give it a try for yourself. Thank you so much for watching the video guys, I hope you enjoyed it. It's been Glaze, and I'll speak to you very soon.